There's 4 forms of leverage. The lowest form of leverage is labor. Next highest form of leverage is capital, having money work for you. Why is capital, having money work for you, superior than labor? Works 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, never gets tired, never gets sick, never quits. There are 2 new forms of leverage that are more powerful than these 2. The richest people on the planet have been using them for the last 30 years. They've been able to do in 30 years what it took people who use this 200 years to do. Media. Here's the thing that most people don't get about attention. Because if attention's more valuable than money, I should be willing to trade money for what? Attention all day long, but we don't. Now, the highest form of leverage is software. Code is just like media, works 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, anywhere on the planet, yes? Here's the difference. This costs almost no money to duplicate or replicate once you create it one time. You're not as far away from the dream life that you want as you think you are. You're literally like one relationship away, one decision, and one opportunity. EXP and this RevShare thing has been that opportunity for me, and I know it can be for you. I've spent the last 2 years and 10 months learning media and how to do it right, learning attraction. Took me 10 months to get to 100 agents, took me 16 months to get to 200. We're now at 407 agents in 2 years and 10 months.
I just wanted to share a quick story about how we met.
Yeah.
Because I look around this room and I'm like, a lot of us met the same way that I met him. So COVID, March 2020, he used to fly from Florida to New Jersey and do prospecting clinics at all of the top, shops, the brokerages. Dan, a lot of us have come from the same place. So Aaron was in there teaching everybody how to make calls. Where was I?
I don't remember.
I was hiding in the corner.
Oh, yeah,
I was hiding in the corner.
Yeah. You were there prospecting, but you were...
No, I wasn't. I was hiding.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I was hiding. And Aaron says, so there's all these guys, and they're like ex-Wall Street guys, and they're prospecting now, and they're setting all these appointments. You're telling them what to say in the ear, and I'm sitting there scared in the corner. Aaron goes, you, set an appointment before I leave.
Yeah. And
I was like, me? And he challenged me to get on the phones, and I called for sale by owners because they're a little nicer, right, Viv? And I got a lady to take my first appointment I ever got from that clinic that day.
That's awesome.
And what's amazing about that for me and all of us in this room is that that's what we're doing as a group for other people. Taking people who were once scared, who were once like, hey, is this for me? I'm not sure. And like, Vivian, I see you out door knocking with them. I see you getting listings signed. I see you closing deals, just sharing everything that we've learned. So it's so amazing to have Aaron here and for all of us to duplicate what he has successfully been doing for over a decade. Yeah. So Mr. 2000 Homes Sold, welcome to Texas.
Thank you, appreciate it. Appreciate it. While I'm here, I really wanted to take the time to spend time with leadership, right? And on the plane over here, I found myself thinking, when I was 40, I had reached a place in my business career where I kind of was feeling myself. Anybody besides me ever feel themselves before? Yeah. And I'd hit the kind of what people would perceive to be the pinnacle, right? I was selling 130, 140 homes a year. I was coaching 25 people individually, 60 people in groups, making a lot of money. And yet something was off. The energy that's required in order to produce at that level was starting to take a toll on my physical body. My relationship with my wife was good, but it wasn't great. It was a little strained because when you work 70, 80 hours a week, that happens, despite how much money you're making. And even though I was a present dad, I missed out on probably 30% of their activities. I also didn't have a really strong relationship with the Lord because I didn't have time. I didn't make time, truthfully. And I kind of felt like I don't know what the way is, but this isn't it. There's got to be another way. Has anybody besides me ever got themselves to that place? I don't know what the way is, but I'm going to either find the way or make the way. Yeah? So then I started to really look at different vehicles. I started to look at different skills that I could be producing, learning. I started to look at this media thing as something other than just kids dancing, right? And I'm happy to report to you that last year, my hours went from 70 a week to 25 to 30. Yeah. I traveled for a month with my family out of the country last year. Twice with my wife without the kids. Yes. She's like, can we bring him with us? No. I love them. No. I routinely pick my kids up now and take them to different events, which wasn't happening before. And now, daily, I'm able to read the Bible and have that relationship. And I don't tell you that to brag or boast. I don't. I tell you that just to demonstrate to you guys that you're not as far away from the dream life that you want as you think you are. You're literally like one relationship away, one decision, and one opportunity. EXP and this RevShare thing has been that opportunity for me, and I know it can be for you. Okay? I've spent the last 2 years and 10 months learning media and how to do it right. Learning attraction. Took me 10 months to get to 100 agents. Took me 16 months to get to 200. We're now at 407 agents in 2 years and 10 months. Yeah, you can clap. Yeah, it's pretty good. On our way to thousands, right? So what I want to use our time today to go over is, one, really understanding what this opportunity is and the scale and scope of it, because I believe that part of the reason we don't give it the urgency that it deserves because we don't really understand it. The second thing is I'm going to give you my blueprint on how to get to 100 agents. Okay? It took me 10 months to do it. I believe you could do the same. Is this interesting for anybody? Say yes. Yes. Okay, cool. Wait, I'm sorry. Is this interesting to anybody? Say yes. Yes. Okay, I just want to make sure I'm in the right room. So the first thing we got to get really clear on is, what is this? And in order to really understand what this opportunity is, we have to understand leverage. And I realized that despite selling all these homes and coaching all these people, if you notice, how much leverage did I have? Zero. Because I had to be there to do everything. That means I really didn't understand leverage that well. Okay? So I read a book called The Almanac of Naval Ravikant, which sounds like it comes from a cave somewhere in the middle of, like, you know, the Middle East somewhere. It's not. He is a angel investor, Silicon Valley. He's in his 40s, probably my age, made ungodly amounts of money. But most of the things that I read, I don't know about you guys, because I read a lot, it's like usually recycled information. People just say it in a different way. You know, it's like when people come to me, they're like, oh my God, I read Atomic Habits, it's amazing. I'm like, bro, it's not like mind-shaking information, right? But this I'd never heard of before in my life. This was accretive and it changed my thinking completely. So to understand what this model really is, we first have to understand leverage. There's 4 forms of leverage. The lowest form of leverage is labor. Now you guys define for me, what is labor? What does that mean?
Work, sweat.
Yeah. Or having people that work, right? Yeah. So labor. Now, why is this the lowest form of leverage? What's the problem with labor? Gets tired, quits, wants different splits, yeah? Changes companies, complains. Whoa, that's on camera, but yeah. I didn't say it, she did. So, but yeah, so that's the problem with labor. Now, is this better than having no leverage? Having some people work for you or with you? Yes, but it's not optimal. Okay. Next highest form of leverage is capital, having money work for you. By the way, you know what the word capital actually comes from? It comes from a Latin word meaning of the mind. Interesting. So, why is capital, having money work for you, superior than labor?
Because the money's making money work.
Works 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, never gets tired, never gets sick, never quits. Make sense? What's the problem with it, though? It's isolated geographically with where it can work. So in other words, I do investments in like syndications, multifamily apartment buildings. If I give them money, it only works in the apartment building. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, but only there. Yeah? So what I was doing was I was spending all of my time in these 2 forms of leverage, which work. Problem is they take a long time to work. Yeah? It's not that it's bad. It just takes a long time. Okay? And we can never lose track of the fact that we're all in the process of expiring. The faster I can accomplish something, the longer I can enjoy it with the people that I love and enjoy. Yes? Okay. There are 2 new forms of leverage that are more powerful than these 2. Okay? These 2 new forms of leverage, the richest people on the planet have been using them for the last 30 years. They've been able to do in 30 years what it took people who use this 200 years to do. Okay? Media. Media is actually more valuable than money. Why? Why is attention more valuable than money?
There's no geographical location.
No geographic borders or boundaries. So this works anywhere where there's an internet connection, yes? So do I regularly have people now calling me from, how many people were at the summit? You know 35 to 40% of that room came from outside of the state of Florida? Do you know why that happened? Media. Why else is media more valuable than money?
It doesn't expire.
Okay.
It doesn't expire, but
It has the same component. It works 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. It's not limited geographically. Here's the thing that most people don't get about attention. Do you know what happens? The audience compounds. What does compounding mean? Oh, so let's think about this. You go out, you sell a house, yes? You get one commission check. Does that compound at all? No. I do a piece of media and 1 million people watch it. And it lives there forever. Does it? And the audience keeps getting what? Over time. Yes? Interesting. I told my team after we did the summit, you know what's really dope when you spend time with things that are highly leveraged? I can work really hard for 2 or 3 days, back out, and then it just keeps multiplying. Yeah? All the media multiplies. We had 5 people partner with us. We have 5 more third-party calls. That'll turn into 100 agents for 3 days of work. Does that make sense? Okay. Now, even though media is more, now, this one's easy for us to understand. Do you know why it's been with us the longest? The Pharaoh could have built the pyramids himself, yes? But instead he had 20,000 slave laborers build it. We understand that one pretty easy, yes? If you ask somebody that's 50, 60 years old, do you know what they ask you about your business, if you're successful or not? How many employees do you have? That's their level of understanding of leverage. This one, less of us understand because it's new. We made it up. Money. It's relatively new. Okay? That's why 65% of people live paycheck to paycheck because they don't understand that. Yeah? Very few understand this. Because if attention's more valuable than money, I should be willing to trade money for what? Attention all day long, but we don't. We don't do that. We don't use it as a mechanism to position ourselves as a guide to help somebody to solve our problems. We use it as a mechanism to gratify our egos. Showing people working out. You know who you are in the room. And none of you guys are physical trainers. None of you guys make money from that. Okay? Now, the highest form of leverage is software. Code. Why is code more superior than media?
because everything needs code.
Okay, what else? Okay.
It creates the platform we place media in.
Okay, that's interesting. Yeah, I like what you're thinking.
Yeah, you can sell it.
You can
You can also add to it.
Okay.
So your value add is essentially endless because you can put different components to it.
Okay, good. I like we're thinking. This software code is just like media. It works 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, anywhere on the planet, yes? Yeah. Here's the difference. This costs almost no money to duplicate or replicate once you create it one time. Richest people in the world, Bezos, code. Zuckerberg, code. Elon, code. Larry Ellison, Oracle, code. Yeah? Archimedes said, if you give me a lever long enough and a place to stand, I can move the earth. These are the most powerful levers that have ever existed in humanity, as of yet. Yeah? So, what I did at the beginning of my career is I used my own labor. I made myself very valuable with skills. I made money. I lived within my means, took that money and invested it. Yes? It works, but it took me 17 years, guys, to get $10,000 a month in recurring revenue. And I was making a lot of money, okay? I use these two pieces to create $20K a month with almost no money. Is right. Because of my understanding of leverage, yeah? Okay, so in order to understand what EXP is, first I got to see this. I have to understand what leverage is.
I have a question.
Yes.
So, do you think that you could have just jumped from, not do the labor and the capital and just jump from the media to the code?
You can, and I'll show you how. I like how you're thinking, though. Let's get this to move. So, now the next thing I need to understand in order to understand this opportunity with EXP and this RevShare thing is something called the opportunity ladder, okay? So first I'll explain it to you in a different industry, and then we'll bring it back into our industry because it's easier to understand somewhere else and then bring it here. So let's say you are the best person at doing laundry. Yeah? So you work at a laundromat, you're doing laundry, and you're just like a rock star at doing laundry. Okay? How much leverage do you have? None. Now let's say you manage a laundromat. Do you have some leverage? A little bit. Meh. See, he was like, a little bit, right? Maybe some employees, but not much. Now let's say you own the laundromat. You have only one form of leverage. Remember those 4 forms I just showed you? The only form you have is labor. Yeah? You're also limited geographically. You can only serve people within 10, 15 miles of your laundromat. Yes? So it's a limited opportunity. Let's call it $1 million opportunity. Yeah? Now let's say you franchise the laundromat. Now who can you serve? Anywhere. Not only that, you've added another form of leverage, which is other people's money. Because you can take money and you can build out other things, and plus you got the leverage of labor. Yeah? So you took $1 million opportunity, turned it to a $100 million opportunity by adding one form of leverage. Yeah? Okay. Now let's say you create software that runs laundromats. Makes them more effective, more efficient, right? More profitable, and all you take is like 2 pennies off gross sales. Now who can you serve? Everyone who owns a laundromat. And now it's software, because you went up, right, in terms of the leverage. Now instead of a $100 million opportunity, it's a $1 billion opportunity.
This is like Hermosius model.
It's exactly what it is. It's where I learned it. So now, what's the equivalent of doing laundry in real estate? Deals. That's right. Doing them deals. Yeah? What's the equivalent of being a manager? Nope. Having a team. Yeah? What's the equivalent of owning the laundromat?
Regional manager.
Owning it would be like, I own the office. I'm a broker. Yeah? Limited geographically, right? All I have is labor, but I have all the expenses, right? That joke, there's a reason why they call them brokers, because they're. That's right. What's the equivalent of franchising a laundromat? Ooh, got a bunch of realtors thinking, baby. Huh?
Chain brokerages.
Yeah, or like Keller Williams, where they have like a royalty fee. So it's a franchise. They sell franchises, right? And they get top-line revenue, right? That gets sent back to the mothership. That's the equivalent. What's the equivalent of software? Not YLobo, not Zillow, not Redfin, but software to process transactions. You know, but don't say anything. Oh, this is so good. This is why you guys don't do this, because you don't understand it. It's EXP. It's just software that people can plug into for $150 and $85 a month to process transactions.
Yeah.
Do you understand?
Yeah.
This is where I feel like it would be one of those TikToks where they're like, This is why you guys don't do this, because you don't understand it. Okay? So notice, I went from spending all of my time here to now I spend all of my time here. Yes?
Yeah.
And what happened? I got a lot more time, and I'm making more money. Make sense? Okay. So now that we understand the opportunity ladder, and we understand what this actually is, because by the way, with 407 agents, who runs the whole thing for me? Oh, wow, that's fantastic. You mean I have an operational partner who answers all the questions and all the problems? I was literally in a mastermind. You guys at the summit saw Leo speak, the CEO of EXP. It's pretty dope that we had him there, right? I was literally in the mastermind with like 250 agents in the company. I said, guys, I don't know if you know this. I have a partner who runs this whole company. I said, Leo, can you please stand up, please? Can you wave to everybody in the room? That's the guy who runs the whole thing. All I have to do is use media and bring people to the well, and do events and bring people to the well, and he runs the whole thing. Yes? Yes. That's pretty dope. Imagine having a business where you don't have to do the operation. That's amazing. Yeah? Okay. So the next thing to understand in order to really get this is that this is no different than YouTube. So you guys who have been on third-party calls with me, you've heard to say this a lot, but I really want this to pound this into your brain because this exists all around us. You guys watch YouTube all the time, but you don't understand their economic model. So YouTube is a platform, yes? Do they create any content? Who does? Users. Content creators like me. Users just consume. They gobble it up, right? Now, because of this, YouTube went to their content creators in 2007-8. They said, we have a problem we need to talk to you about, okay? We don't create any content. You guys create all the content. We need you and you need us. So we need to come up with a mutually beneficial financial arrangement so we can keep doing this as a business, yeah? So here's what they came up with. They say to content creators like me, if you have 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 hours worth of watch time in a calendar year, which is harder than it sounds, we will give you half of the revenue that we generate from ads on your content. Yeah? That turned 15-year-olds into millionaires. Yeah? Is that a scam? Okay, good. I'm glad we all agree that it's not a scam. It's just an economic model called revenue sharing. It caused YouTube to become the second largest search engine in the world at half the speed that it took Google to become the first. When Google realized that they had enormous competition, do you know what they did? They bought them for $1 billion, which was a steal. Because YouTube does like $25 billion in revenue in a year. What EXP says to their agents is if you bring an agent to our platform, because do brokerages sell any real estate? No. I'm sorry? No. Who does?
The agent.
Ah! So this is no different than YouTube. Oh, the light bulb just went off. If you bring an agent to our platform and they sell any real estate, we will give you a small portion of the $16,000 they send back to us. Yes? It's the exact same thing. Okay. Now, we really have to put this in perspective in terms of the financial opportunity, because again, I think this is also part of the reason we don't spend time on it. So what percentage of the population in the United States would you guess has $1 million in the bank? Liquid capital. 0.01. It's 3%. 3% of all Americans in the United States have $1 million in liquid capital. Okay? Now, if I have an asset, let's say $1 million invested at 6% is 60 grand, yeah? Yes or yes? You tracking? Okay. So if I have something that throws off $5,000 a month in income, which is 60 grand in a calendar year, that would mean it would be the equivalent of $1 million of capital invested at 6%. Yes or yes? Okay, cool. Now, what's interesting is that there's 4 types of millionaires. There's a virtual millionaire, which is this, where you have an asset that throws off the equivalent in cash. Yeah? Then there's a, yeah. Okay, then there's a revenue millionaire. How many businesses in the United States ever make more than $1 million a year? Does anybody know? 4%. All businesses in the United States, all of them, ever make more than $1 million a year. You guys are like, yeah, I want to make $1 million. I'm like, 96% chance that's not going to happen. It's very hard. Okay.
Is that revenue or profit?
Revenue. Liquid millionaire, which we just discussed, only 3%, right? Liquid capital of $1 million. Then you have an asset millionaire, right? Which one of these 3 do you think are the easiest? Nope. Assets, you need lots of cash, baby.
1.
Number 1 is the easiest.
What is it?
Virtual millionaire. Easiest to do.
Like following?
No, like where you have something that can produce, like what I'm doing here with EXP. It's infinitely more easy than becoming a revenue millionaire, because I've done that. A liquid millionaire, I've done that. And an asset millionaire, I've done that. It's way easier. It took me 17 years to get $10,000 a month of recurring revenue. It took me 10 months to do it here with no money. No, that like, guys, that's ridiculous. It's unbelievable, okay? So, $5,000 a month equals 60K, which would be a virtual millionaire, yes? Do you know how many agents that is? 100. That's it. 100. Because you get 10, and those 10 get 10. Yeah? It's just 100 agents. And you're literally a virtual millionaire. Yeah, but I don't want to do an event, and I don't want to. Okay. Then do the other stuff that's way harder, yeah? Infinitely more harder. I don't want to do media because I don't like the way my hair looks. It's crazy. Okay, how many people in the United States would you say have $5 million in liquid capital? 5 million. 0.001%. 1% of one, like a percent of a percent. Okay? $5 million invested at 6% is 300K.
There's a caveat to that, though.
Which is?
Is if that money is liquid, it's not appreciating.
Which is fine. The point being, though, how many people have that much money? It's infinitely small. $5 million invested at 6% is $300,000 a year. It's $25,000 a month in monthly reoccurring revenue. Now, in order to get to $5 million, how much would you have to gross? Probably more, because you have to pay taxes, you have to store, you have to live. How many people on planet Earth ever make that amount of money in their lifetime? Infinitesimally small. Okay? This is 450 to 500 agents. That's it. It's the equivalent. That's crazy. That's unbelievable. Anybody besides me like absolutely floored by that? Here's why I'm floored. You know why? I did all the other ones. I worked 70 hours a week, 80 hours a week to make $1 million. Lived way within my means, living in a 1,500 square foot townhouse, even though I'm making $1 million a year and investing all the money. It's hard, super hard. This is way easier, infinitely more easier. Okay?
Hard not to spend the money.
I'm sorry?
It's hard not to spend the money too.
Well, as you start making it, right? Yeah, you know, you've made over $1 million in a year.
I spend a lot of money.
Right? So, now that, is everybody clear on how enormous this opportunity is? Okay, I just want to make sure. So now that we're clear, now we can have a blueprint of how to get to 100 agents. Okay, so if I told you if you spent 3 years with me, I'd hand you $1 million, would that be worth your time? Okay, making sure. So I believe that everybody in this room, if you follow this blueprint, you could be at 100 agents in 3 years. It's actually not that hard. It's really not. Because let me ask you a question. Do we offer ridiculous value? Yeah. Insane value. Yeah? You know how many people came up to me at the summit? They're like, bro, this is crazy how much value I got. Yeah. Insane. Do you think anybody expected to get breakfast with their little ticket? No. Do you think they expected to get lunch? No. Do you think they expected to see that level of speakers? No. It's not that hard. I just have to be consistent with it, okay? So any business, in order to grow it, there's only 4 ways to grow a business. Who wants to tell me what they are? Only 4. And everybody talks about the same 4. I don't care who you're going to see. So there's only 4.
Wait, real estate?
Any business. I don't care if you're a chiropractor. I don't care if you sell real estate.
Inbound, outbound.
First one's leads. I need more leads. Second one is conversion. So in other words, let's say I get 20 leads, my conversion ratio is 10%, what I'm selling is $10,000, so I have 2 sales, I make 20 grand, yeah? If I increase leads to 40 and I keep the current conversion, I should double the business. Did you follow that? You sure?
No. After 20.
If you have 20 leads, 10% conversion means 2 people buy. If you're selling something that's $10,000, you make 20 grand. Make sense? If I go to 40 leads, I keep the same conversion, 10%. That means I have 4 sales, means I made 40 grand. I double the business. Make sense? Next is conversion. Conversion is how many people say yes. So let's say I take conversion from 10% to 20%. So from the 40 leads, now I have 8 sales, I make 80 grand. I've quadrupled the business by increasing leads and increasing conversion. Yeah? Okay. The third is ascension. You ascend them into higher stuff. You sell them a primary house and then you sell them a portfolio. Yeah? For me, it's like they might get into the ecosystem and then they get into a high-level mastermind. It's like ascension. The fourth is retention. You keep them for longer. You ever had a client do business with somebody else? You lost them. I'm no longer retaining them as a client, yeah? So with the attraction game, what we're interested in is these, because you can't really ascend them. 1, 2, and 4. Leads, conversion, and retention. So if the goal is to get to 100 agents within 3 years, okay, what are the lead levers? Bless you. What are the lead levers? And this is what I use to get to 100 agents in 10 months. Okay. Number 1 is events. Raise your hand if you've done an event. Raise your hand if you've done them consistently every month, rain or shine. Good. The 2 people that have the most agents. I've done an event every month since November of 2022. Why? Because I understand the scale and scope of this opportunity. Do you guys realize you could have time freedom and location freedom? You could be anywhere on the planet, and you know what I want? I want money following me anywhere on the planet. They're like, I'm with that guy. Yeah? That's dope. I want to be able to bless people just because I feel like it. Right? Just because I see them and they need help. Bam, there you go. So events, consistency is key. I've done an event, like I said, every month since November 2022. We have SOPs for them. Standard operating procedures. We'll give them to you. You don't even have to come up with it. Okay? Make sure, because me and Vivian have talked about this, and it's awesome because she's done them, and then she evolves because she's doing them. And the first question I ask her is, say, hey girl, she's like, yep. I'm like, do you have a CRM and you're like inputting all the data when they're at the event? She's like, no, I didn't do that. That's not treating it like a business. Yeah? Businesses, you always talk about my database, yeah? I need to gather data so I can keep inviting them to stuff, right? So having a CRM there so you can gather the information. And then remember that those events serve 4 purposes. The first purpose is that you're educating your current partners. You realize we're all partners? How many people here own stock in EXP? Yeah, pretty much all of you if you're doing deals. You know what that means? We're all partners. So me training you guys to be better is great. We all win. The second thing that it does is that it helps with attraction. You know what's crazy to me, and I love you guys, that more you guys didn't invite more people to the Do More Deals Summit. You could have added so many people to your organization. It's easy. Just, how many tickets did you buy for people?
10. 5 already joined.
5 already joined? Bro, you know what I did for you? I put on an event that cost 50 grand. You know what you need to do? Invite people to it. That's it. That's not hard, is it? It's easy, but you're like, no, I'm too busy. I got other stuff going on. Okay. I guess so. But you can get to 100 agents in 3 years if you want, or faster like I did. The third thing that it does is media. Every time you do an event, you should be recording it. Why? Because media is what? It's the 3rd highest form of leverage. Do you know how many here, I'm going to read something to you. Look how crazy this is. Absolutely insane. I got this text the other day while I'm at my son's soccer game. Here's what he says to me. And this is all because of media, okay? Hey, Aaron, I'm an independent agent in Westchester County, New York. I've never been there in my life, okay? Located directly north of NYC. I'm thinking of joining EXP. Are you still sponsoring agents? Is that an amazing text? I love your content. It has brought me so much value and made me a better agent. I'm considering a sponsor through EXP. Your name is a no-brainer for me. Let me know. That's happened 7 times this year already, and it's February. Oh, but I'd rather do pictures of working out than do content that gets agents to call me. You know why. I'm trying to help you guys get rich. I don't want to be the only person on the private jet, okay? I want you guys to be with me. Yeah.
January 22nd. Hey Ben, been watching your YouTube. It's great stuff, man. I'm intrigued by what you're doing with EXP. Time has come to make some major changes. Would you be open to 5 minutes?
And this comes from a guy who fought me for 6 months to do media.
Longer.
And then for 6 months he did it, he sucked at it. Legit. He's the one who told me, he's like, bro, my video took like 2 hours to film. I'm like, that's because you're acting. You're not being yourself, bro. It's easy to be me. Nobody can be Ben the way Ben can be Ben. Nobody can be AAA the way AAA can be AAA. Nobody can be Vivian the way Vivian can be Vivian. But we think like, dude, we think I have something better to do. that's more valuable. That's wild. That's crazy. Yeah? So,
I was gonna say that
yeah.
I heard something from a girl that does social media marketing. She's like 20 years old and completely financially free.
Yeah.
And she says, she makes content out of literally everything. And she's like, if no one sees it, great. Then no one saw how stupid it was. Then I just make another one.
Yeah.
Just keep going.
Yeah, and I think the critical component of that, which I'm going to talk about, is you have to do it story branded. You have to position yourself as a guide to help people to solve their problems. Because we're all looking for guides to help us to solve our problems, yes? Health problems, relationship problems, money problems, physical problems, spiritual problems, yes? And what most of you guys are doing is posting content where you're the hero. Here's me doing something cool. Who's the hero? Yeah? Here's me and my kids. Nobody cares. Your parents care. That's it. Here's me working out. Nobody cares. You're not positioning yourself as a you're not positioning yourself as a guide to help anybody to solve their problems. Look, do you want to be look at me or do you want to be listen to me? She'll have way more if she showed them how to make money.
I think you could combine, yeah.
I'm just saying. I had another young lady. She was on a call. I said the same thing to her. She got all butthurt, and I'm like, look, I have 407 agents. I did that in 2 years and 10 months. If you find yourself in the presence of somebody who's believable and you're fighting what they're saying, you should probably be quiet and listen. There's a reason. Yeah? So it just depends on what I'm actually after, right? But those events do 4 things. They train partners, they do attraction, media, but they also do culture. Yeah? I went from being somebody that's like you guys see on whatever, and now we hang out with each other. The summit was culture. People come for the money, but they stay for the relationships. Yes? They do. And that's why we do a gala, and that's why we do a pool party, so we can form relationships. Remember, the 4th way to grow a business is retention. Causes people to stay. Yes? Okay. And agents just want to do more deals. That's all they really care about. So all of your events should be positioned around helping agents to do more deals. That's it. Help them do more deals. Whatever you're doing, whether you're doing new construction, show them how to do it. Whether you're working with FSBOs, show them how to do it. Whether you're flipping a house, show them how to do it. The best way to show somebody you can help them is to help them for free. Yeah? The most scalable way to do that is media. Combine it with events, boom, you'll explode. Everybody tracking?
Yes.
Okay. The next thing that I've used is media. And again, you have to use it effectively and you have to understand story branding. So story branding, and the reason I keep saying this is because 7 times said is once heard. I'll tell you 7 times before you hear me once. Then I'll tell you 7 times again before you maybe listen. And then 7 times again before you believe me. And then 7 times again after you did it to encourage you to keep doing it. And then 7 times again after you think you thought of something that's cooler to bring you back to what actually works. Yeah? So story brand. This is why everybody's doing media wrong. Okay? There is a hero who has a what? Problem. Can the hero solve their own problems? I'm sorry? No. Because if they could, there would be no story. Bless you. There'd be no story. There's nothing to watch. Yeah? Who meets a what? Guide. Who gives them a plan, who then calls them to action. The hero uses the plan, and they get what they want, and they avoid what they don't want. That's every movie, every book, every story that you've ever read. Yeah? So Harry Potter is the hero. Who's the guide? Dumbledore. You knew that. That was like very enthusiastic. She likes Harry Potter. Are you Gryffindor or Hufflepuff or what?
Ravenclaw.
My bad. So Katniss Everdeen in the Hunger Games. Who's the hero? Hamish. Yeah? Star Wars. Who's the hero? Luke Skywalker. Who's the guide? Obi-Wan. Guys, in every story, and we've been telling stories for thousands of years. They're sense-making mechanisms, yeah? It's how we make sense of things. Okay. Now, check this out. Of these characters, hero, villain, hero, and guide. Who is the weakest person in the whole story? Weakest. Nope.
The one who's getting guided by the hero.
No, the villain.
Oh, that's right.
Voldemort doesn't have a body.
Yeah. His spirit's in like 6 different
Right, he's the weakest person in the whole story. Who's the second weakest person in the whole story? The hero. Because does Harry Potter know he's the best wizard on the planet? No. Does he even know how to use magic? No, he has to go to Hogwarts, yes? Does he make mistakes all the time? Oh, yes. Who's the strongest character in the whole story? Dumbledore, the guide. Okay, so now listen very closely. And this is going to cause some friction for a lot of you guys, okay? Most of you guys are creating media that makes you the hero 100% of the time. Look at me, I'm such a good boy or girl. Oh, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, watch me. You're making yourself the second weakest person in the whole story. That's crazy. Yeah? And the reason is because we're using media as a mechanism to gratify our ego instead of positioning ourselves as a guide to help us solve our problems. What problems do agents have? Doing deals, that's all they care about. So if you want to position yourself as a guide to help them to solve that problem, what should you be posting about? Oh my gosh, is that more valuable than showing yourself doing anything else? You see though, when I say it, it's like, but I like that other stuff.
Not even my fires?
Huh?
Not even my fires anymore?
Your fires? Yeah, I love, listen, I love you, bro. It doesn't add value.
I know.
You know what I'm saying? No, yeah, on his story where he's just like fire.
Because nobody's gonna see your story really unless it like follows you. And so like, your story can like create, like what I'm saying.
Hey, nobody's watching, bro. It doesn't matter.
Your feed is more likely to go viral than your story.
No, yeah.
And then so your story can just be more of like who you are as a person.
Yeah, I was just joking.
Yeah, so again though, but like, again, if you go back to this, all of that other stuff, virtually everybody's doing that. They're making themselves the hero.
Yeah.
Not positioning themselves as a guide to help anybody solve their problems. That's why nobody reaches out to you. Does that make sense?
So
And if,
thinking about the way that I was able to get over this, I thought about it. I looked at the people that I was attracted to, gaining a lot of knowledge from.
yeah,
On social media, it's 100,000, million plus. I don't see their kids or their family stuff.
Nope.
Very rarely. And if I do, like again, that's cool. I'll smile and like look at it for half a second, but then I'm scrolling on.
yep.
The people that I actually listen to and I'll watch the videos, it's all the stuff that's giving me value.
Ta-da! That's a fact, unless you're looking for entertainment. That's something entirely different. Yes? So, the other issue with this is, again, like we're doing it on the social graph, which is an old way of doing it. So, I will age myself. I'm 40, how am I? I'm 44. So, I was around when Facebook first came out. I was in college. And the way that algorithm worked, you were too, Bishop. The way that algorithm worked is it only showed you stuff based on what your friends were doing. Yeah? It was on the social graph. TikTok comes around, their algorithm's on the interest graph. They only show you stuff that you're interested in. Why is that superior than the social graph? What you thought was cool 10 years ago is different than what you think is interesting now. So the algorithm can change with you over time, which means it keeps you for longer. And they started to eat Meta lunch and YouTube. So you know what they did? They created Reels and YouTube Shorts. Anybody besides me have a teenager or a young person at home? How much time do they spend on YouTube Shorts? All the time. Yes? You're on YouTube Shorts, no? 100%. They're like this. That was the response, yes? Okay. Why is this important? Well, all of the posts of me with my girlies, us doing this, what I'm eating, is on which graph? Social. That's why nobody watches. It's on the interest graph. What are people interested in? So who's your avatar? For attraction, who's our avatar? What are they interested in? Period. Period. Like, done. No, but you know what I'm saying? They're not interested in anything else. So if I'm going to use media as a mechanism for attraction, then I should be positioning myself as a guide to help them to solve their problems. And there's two avatars in my opinion. One, agents doing 0 to 100 deals. What do they need? They need to be more effective, more efficient. They want scripts. They need systems, yeah? Processes, procedures. Most of them are like completely out of control. They don't know what an SOP is. Bless you, they don't have any staff, yeah? They need help with all of that. Great. The second avatar is an agent like Jeff Quinton that we just brought over. He sold 5,000 homes in his career. Okay? He sells a lot of homes, but he doesn't have a lot of
Time.
So you know what he said when he called me? Hey, bro, I want to reclaim time, and I've been watching you do it. Can you help me? What was my answer? Of course I can help you, bro. Right? Two avatars. So if I'm going to use media as a mechanism with events to get to 100, make sure that I'm not positioning myself as a hero, I'm positioning myself as a guide, and I'm not doing it on the social graph, I'm doing it on the interest graph. Now, you can argue with me all you want about this. I'm just telling you what works, okay? And I'm telling you what's causing conversion, because what's interesting is Hormozy, when he went down the path, he went towards the vanity metric, and do you know what dropped for him? Conversion. So he's posting stuff about everything, yeah? You know what he realized? That's not what I want. Now he went back to posting only about business, and what went up? Conversion. So what am I using media for? Am I interested in vanity metrics, or am I interested in making money?
Yeah, that's interesting because obviously he's, you know, a dude that's in shape and healthy, but people don't go to
No,
his speaking events because of that.
they don't.
They go because they're interested in scaling their business.
Yeah, so he was posting some of that content, and he realized conversion went down because he sells $5,000, like the summit we did, he charges $5,000 for that with him and his wife. And he packs the room with probably like 200 people, makes $1 million. Good for him. But what he did was he was doing the other stuff, and all the vanity metrics exploded. He went to like millions of followers and stuff. Conversion went down. So you know what he sat his team down? He said, hey, my bad. I was doing that wrong. We're going back to only posting content about business. Conversion goes back up. Yes? So if you, I'm telling you, like do a 6-month trial from whatever you're doing right now, which is probably on the social graph and probably making yourself the hero, switch it to being on the making yourself the guide and do it on the interest graph and see what happens. I know what's going to happen. You'll have people reaching out to you the same way they reach out to me. Okay? So events, media, and the goal, remember, the goal is to become the type of person somebody would say yes to without even knowing what you're doing. How do we decide if people like us? Or we like people? How do we decide if we like somebody? We talk to them. We share ideas. We listen. Yeah? And then we form a relationship. You know what's really crazy about media? I can send the digital version of myself to have conversations with thousands, if not millions of people. They listen, I share ideas, and they form a para-social relationship with me. That's wild. Do you realize we live in a world where that's possible? Do you know if I had a fantastic idea 250 years ago, the most people I could share it with were the people in my village. That was it. I'd run out. I can now send the digital version of myself to go have conversations with people, and then they start to call me from all across the country. So you want to become the type of person somebody would say yes to without even knowing what you're doing. And the best way to show somebody you can help them is to help them for free. And the most scalable way to do that is media. Again, 7 to 8 FLAs in 60 days for me. Just because I'm consistent with it. I'm sticking to it. Okay?
What's an FLA?
That's a frontline agent. So somebody I directly bring into the company.
Say that again. What did you just say?
7 to 8 FLAs in the last 60 days. So frontline agents. Now, I just covered the lead mechanisms, yes? This is how we generate leads, events, media. How do we convert those leads? Yes. How many people have been on third-party calls with me in the room? You have, raise your hand. So, good, so you've been using that as a mechanism. But you know what I see agents do? They don't do third-party calls. You know what they do? I do it myself.
What do you mean when you say third party?
So third-party calls, let's say somebody calls you and says, hey, I'm sorry, your name again?
Sherelle.
Sherelle. They're like, hey, Sherelle, what's the CXP thing? And then you're like, well, there's all these different reasons why I joined it, da-da-da, and the rev share, and this is blah, 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 and you do all of that, right? And how does that usually go?
I haven't done that.
Okay, but let's say you did. How would you imagine that goes?
Probably not.
Not well, because if somebody does that to you, how do you feel? If somebody starts to like aggressively, verbally vomit on you. You back off immediately, okay? Now let's say instead somebody was like, hey, well, there's many reasons why I decided to join. I'm curious, have you been thinking about it? Then what would you say? Let's say you were thinking about it. What would you say?
Yes.
Okay, cool. And what about the models interesting to you?
How you guys get deals.
Yeah, that's cool. So you like kind of our ecosystem and what we're doing and how we're doing deals. And are you familiar with other aspects of the model, like how you can earn equity and like this rev share opportunity? Have you heard anything about that? Okay, cool. So I'm curious if I could get you on, because it seems like you're thinking about it, and whatever you decide, we support you 100%. If I could get you on a call with my senior partner, his name is Aaron Novello. He's real busy, or her name is Jessica Nelson. They're really busy, but I think I'm going to go on a call for like 20, 30 minutes, and they can answer any questions with regards to the model to see if it makes sense for you and your family and your business. Would that be helpful to you?
I got you. I remember this conversation that I had with someone.
Good. And it went like this?
Yes.
That means I'm training them properly. So, but do you see what I'm saying? Use your senior partners. That's how you get conversion, yes? So AAA recently filled out an application. He's partnering with us. Let's go. But what I'm aware of is that young lady got him on a call with me. Now, and I mean this lovingly, she wouldn't have been able to do that without my help. Yes? So use your senior partners. Use them. They're there for a reason. Because somebody might trust you, like somebody might like you and have like a relationship with you, but they don't trust you with a business decision. So by getting somebody on the call with you, and then you edify them, you edify the senior partner. If I talk about myself, I'm a douchebag. If Vivian talks about me though and says, hey, Aaron's done some really cool things. He sold 2,000 homes in his career. He has a coaching company. He was named top 25 in Housing Wire. He's done all this cool stuff. Now I have a lot of influence. Plus, if he's been watching me online a lot, how much influence do I have? And how much easier is it to convert? Yes? There's a method to the madness. Jessica, me and Jessica, how many third-party calls do you think we've done?
Probably 50 to 60.
At least. Because she just follows the program. That's why she has the most agents. Does that make sense? Use it. So the first two ways are mechanisms for generating leads. The third-party call is how you convert. The goal and objective is to get them on a third-party call, whether it's me, whether it's Jess, whether it's Jose, whoever is available. My schedule sometimes can get filled up, but we can find somebody for you. Lars is available to you. John Mikish is available to you. Bro, Leo's available to you. Leo did a third-party call with me for Quentin. I called the CEO of the company. Hey, bro, I need to get you on a call. And he's like, yeah, okay. Lars as well. Like, I think you see these guys as like, oh, dude, they're your partners. They will help you if you use them. Because by the way, you know what Lars said to me? He was like, hey dude, there's maybe 5 people on the planet other than family that I'd pick up the phone if they called and you're one of them. Why? I was like all of his growth last year. I'm building his worth, his net worth, yeah? I'm building his revenue stream. You think he's gonna pick up the phone when I call him? No matter where he is on the planet? 100%. Use them. Does that make sense? So that's how we convert. And there's a framework for running that call. The first thing we do is check for time. I hop on calls with people and they're like, okay. They just quiet. They just stare at me. Or they bring the third person to the call and they're in their car. I want to throw this at them. It's like, bro, you know how serious this is? This could be traveling with your family for a month. You know one person, before I joined the company, Jose had 40 agents, now he has 450. I mess with him all the time. He's gonna have a picture of me at the house. When his kids walk by, they're gonna go. Like, that's how serious it is. And we're like showing up late and like, oh guys, I'm sorry. Like, come on, bro. Take it seriously. You're literally building wealth. This is a transferable asset. If I disappear off the planet, my wife will get it for the rest of her life. Did daddy do a good job? Yes. That's how serious this is, right? So check for time. What's the purpose of the call? Purpose of the call today is to answer any questions with regards to the model and the opportunity, see if it makes sense for you and your family or business. If so, we could discuss next steps. Yeah? Edify the prospect. They're the most important person in the room. When I hop on calls and people start talking about me, I'm like, first, I'm not the most important person in the room. Who is? Are you? No, they are. They're the most important person in the room. Edify them. Give them like a real compliment. Hey, one of the things I really appreciate about AAA is he's a family guy. He's also a man of God. And I love how he infuses that into his business and in his life. That's a real, I mean that. I'm making a deposit in that relationship. Most people, how often do people hear actual words of affirmation? From anybody, including their significant other. So I'm making a deposit in that relationship, yeah, when I edify him. Then they edify me, the senior partner, right? But then what do? Shut up. And for some of you, that's hard. You want to unmute and be like, well, can I? Huh? Oh, please. No, shut up. Because what happens is energetically, you have 2 versus 1. Okay, if 2 people started to come at you about something, what are you going to naturally do? Did you see what she did with her body? She couldn't even, like, her body was like, ugh. That's what people do on calls. You shut up unless the senior partner's like, right? Hey, opens it up. Hey, AAA, like, didn't you have this thing? And then you're like, oh, yeah, this is my cue to stop shutting up. Yeah? Now, for the senior partners who are doing calls in the room, okay, the goal is for all you guys to become senior partners. So the goal is, Viv, is for AAA, if my schedule's, like, booked, he can call you and be like, yo, can we do a third-party call? So, like, how to run that call. First, you ask for their pain points. If you've been on calls with me, I never start talking about the model first, ever.
What do you need?
Huh?
What do you need?
Yeah, well, hey, I view this as a partnership, so I'm aware that you were born and some things happen. Tell me a little bit about yourself. And usually when people come to me, they come to me for like 3 reasons. One is they're not getting training where they're currently at. They feel like they've outgrown it, right? 2 is they don't have a community of people that they can plug into that are like-minded, that are trying to accomplish their goals and objectives. Or 3, they're trying to figure out multiple ways to get compensated and perhaps an off-ramp for real estate. So just so I'm clear, which one of these 3 is true for you? Quiet. They're going to tell me. They're telling me where their pain points are. Once they tell me where the pain points are, now I'm going to start talking about our value stack. I'm not talking about the model. Because what do agents care about? Yeah, do they read ICAs? Do they even know what equity means? No. Do they understand the rev share model? No. So first I'm going to talk to them about, hey, here's how we can help you, right? We talk about that component, then we talk about the model, right? And then when you get to the end, make sure that you're getting to the next engagement. So most of you guys, you'll be on a call with somebody or you have a conversation with somebody about attraction. You're like, okay, so get back to me? Yeah, and how often do they get back to you? Never. So you have to book the next engagement. So hey, when we get to this point in the conversation, one of 2 things happen. The first is people are like, holy smokes. This makes total sense to me. I love the proximity. I love the value stack. I love the equity. The rev share is just a bonus. I'm ready to start onboarding right now. Other people are like, hey, I want to think about it, pray about it, talk to my significant other. Whatever you decide, we'll support you 100%. What would be a next step that you would feel comfortable with? Now they're going to tell me. I said this to you on a call. He's like, well, because he's a man of God, I want to pray on it. Cool, let's pray together. I did pray with him on a call, did I not? 100%. But he was also like, yeah, I want to talk about, fine, go do that. So if we were to reconnect in about a week, would that work for you? What am I doing? I'm booking the next engagement. Now, he's a perfect example because even though we hopped on a call, did you partner right away? No. So now it's continuing to get him back to the ecosystem. People usually need 8 to 9 touches before they make a decision. Usually. Bishop did the same thing. We hopped on a call. He's like, yeah, it sounds great. Great. He didn't partner right away. He met with them. They had conversations. They talked about it. Then, yeah? People normally need multiple touches. So with AAA, what it was, multiple touches. We kept talking about it, stayed in. I texted him, hey, what's up? Then, guess what I did? I invited him to the summit. And I gave him a ticket to come. And I gave him a lunch ticket with Pace Morby. And then his mind was blown, and what happened? He partnered with us. Just getting people into the ecosystem. Does this make sense? All right. I've been talking for a while, so what questions, comments, concerns, observations, hallucinations do you have for me before we talk about leadership and duplication? What questions do you guys have about anything I just shared with you? Or ahas or like awarenesses? You got to have something. Speak. It's okay.
I think one of the biggest things for a lot of us is that we don't feel like we have value to give.
Yeah, but you know what's wild? And I appreciate you saying that. you become a conduit to this whole value stack. Imagine you can go to an agent and be like, yo, I can get you the guy who is the #1 listing agent in Florida to be your coach for free. I can get you access to his class that has it's in 23 countries and 8 languages for free. I can get you on a call with Jose Luis Morales, who did $2 million in GCI last year, owns 57 doors, has 300,000 followers on Instagram, 142,000 on TikTok, for access to his Morales. So here's the problem, and I so appreciate the question. Bro, most of us have never been leaders of anything. So as a result, who are we thinking about all the time? Yes. What do I need to do? There's a whole ecosystem that's there. You just gotta plug people into it. So I appreciate where you're coming from, but like, the ecosystem's crazy. Then they get real estate B school for free. It's normally $800 a month. What's the main reason why agents don't do more deals? They lack education. You literally are a conduit to thousands of dollars a month of free coaching from rockstar agents. That's the reframe. Yeah.
My concern, and this is personal, is I think about people who may want to compare me to maybe someone who sells, like, I sold 20 houses in my first year in real estate.
Yeah.
And maybe want to say, like, well, Sherelle, how many houses have you sold?
Yeah. Well, here's my experience, and I appreciate that. My experience is that authority is the lowest form of influence. So our industry has a tendency to lean on authority, but it's actually a really low form of influence. Because let me ask people that are producers. How many people, you sell a lot of homes. How many times have you lost to an agent who sold less homes than you?
A few.
It happens, yes? Yeah. Ben, does that happen to you? Yep, it's happened to me. Two deals in Zillow, I show them and they don't care. They list with somebody that they what? No, feel comfortable with, whatever, yeah? So I appreciate where you're coming from, and sure, will some people kind of think that, maybe. But what I'm aware of is like, as long as you're a conduit to value, I think, some of those people will go away, but then you could be like, yeah, I appreciate that. Well, here's what's interesting. My coach Aaron sold 2,000 homes in his career. If I could get you on a call with him and it would be free, would that be helpful to your business?
Okay, so basically.
Hey, here's his YouTube channel that got 2 million views last year and 70,000 hours of watch time from agents that are gobbling up information because it's helpful to them. Check it out. See if it's helpful to you. You become a conduit. And then what you can do is you can document your experience in the ecosystem. Hey, when I got here, like, I didn't know how to sell it. I didn't know how to, like, prospect. Here's what I'm doing. Here's me prospecting. So we think we have to become a rock star when in fact there's people all along the journey. I know that a lot of people don't see themselves in me. Most. Why do you think I do a panel?
To take the attention off of you and kind of disperse it.
And the probability you'll see yourself in one of those people is high, not me. Yes?
I have a question.
Yeah.
Well, no question, but experience. As a new to XP, it's very overwhelming. All the information the XP has, it's like aside from obviously our
Sure.
small group, as far as the XP is concerned, where to direct them? Because I don't even know. There's
Yeah.
so much information
Yeah.
XP provides. It's
Yeah. So I think the thing that are most important is, again, you want them to get wins fast. So Fast Cap, which EXP provides, is free.
I haven't even done.
It's a 12-week program that would normally be at other companies $1,000, $900, $800. It's free. 12 weeks of coaching, accountability, that whole thing. So I point them to that. Get them on the group call with me. Get them in the role play group, and get them on our courses. All of those things will lead to wins. 70% of all agents are out of the business in 1 year. But the reason is because they don't know how to sell real estate.
Another question.
Yeah.
Let's say, I know that our group is primarily cold calling. What if people want to join, but I don't want to cold call?
Yeah, that's okay. So what's your methodology? What do you want to do?
Okay.
You're gonna have to do something. And just keep in mind too, I think it's okay. Everything works if you work it.
Right.
What I'm aware of though is that you're gonna have to talk to somebody eventually, whether you're your sister, your cousin, or your aunt, or your uncle, or your neighbor. So let me ask you a question. If you could learn what to say and how to say it to those people, would that be helpful to you? Yeah?
Yes, I mean, because honestly, like just listening to her talk, I'm like blown away by
Yeah.
her professionalism.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? As far as other agents, like
Yeah.
she to me is top notch. Like the way she handles herself on the phone, and I'm sure she learned it.
From him.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like it's amazing, but like people can be intimidated. Oh, y'all guys do cold calls. I don't want to do that, and so they just
Yeah.
immediately get turned away.
Well, and I think it's interesting too because I think people get turned off to the rev share opportunity too, for the same reason.
It's a lot.
Because I think mentally, here's what I've learned. Because I've had the good fortune of spending time with a lot of humans. I've had a coaching company for 10 years, right? And now I'm on, whatever stages, and I connect with lots of people. I think a lot of us have an issue with deserving. A lot.
It's a mindset thing. Some people.
A lot of us don't. You can only behave in accordance with the way you see yourself.
Yeah.
Most people don't see themselves. What did I say to you as we started this? What did I say to you?
Yeah.
What did I say?
I mean, so
I know, but I said specifically, when you're here, don't look at yourself as
yeah,
just a.
as just a participant, as an actual leader, and so that. Yeah.
Because what am I helping him to change? The way he sees himself.
That's the majority of your coaching, and I didn't understand at first.
Yeah, so like Jess didn't see herself on stage. You know what Jess said to me when I told her to start doing media? Literally, verbatim, I'm not 20 anymore. It's verbatim what she said to me. And what I said to her is like, okay, I appreciate that. And I think Kim Kardashian did a really big disservice to women.
That's true.
Now, when I say that, everybody's like,
No, it's true.
you know what she did? She ushered in, look at me. And I told Jess what she should be focused on is listen to me. And then she started having people listen to her. And then what's happening? They partner with her as a result of what she's saying. But she didn't see herself that way. Yeah? Then I allowed her to speak at the summit. Why? To help her to see herself differently. Same thing with Ben. Ben saw himself as in the crowd. He did not see himself on stage. But I continue to keep putting him in positions to change the way he thinks. Why do you think I invited him to come on this high-level mastermind with me? Because you know what he thinks before I help him in that room? I don't belong in this room. But once he's in the room, what does he start to think? Oh yeah, I could be in this room. And then he starts to behave in accordance with the way he sees himself. Does that make sense? So yeah, I think I understand that. I do. There's a lot of information. I would suggest from a practical perspective, focus on the things that will cause people to get big wins. But a lot of people, I think a lot of us, we just have like a thing with like deserving. And we don't see ourselves in a certain way. If you've been plateaued at a certain income, it's because that's where you see yourself. It's how you see yourself. It's true. So I'll give you an example. So I read this book, and it where I extrapolated that from, this guy sat down with him, and this was my experience. So when I sat down with my first broker, he asked me how much money I want to make. I hemmed and hawed for 20 minutes. You know what number I came up with? 50 grand, because that's what my dad made. I figured, hey, if I can make 50 grand, I'd be in tall cotton. But then I made 117, and it like blew my mind. I was like, what? I made twice as much as my dad made? But then what most of you do when you get there, if you don't see yourself as somebody who does that, you know what you start to do unconsciously? You sabotage it. Because you don't see yourself that way. You know one of the best things I did? I got around people doing way more than me. Bro, I was at dinners where I was the smallest fish at the table. Because it just expanded what I thought was possible. Then you start to hang out with these people and you're like, bro, she's like, okay, bro, but like, come on. Like, if she could do that, I could do that. You know what I'm saying? That's what really happens. You hang out with them and you're like, did you just say that? Like, dang, bro. You got to just change the way you see yourself.
I never heard the term limited beliefs until I started listening to you guys.
Yeah.
I didn't realize I had that.
Yeah, I think we all do.
Yeah.
Yeah. And everybody has it. Like, I'm still going through that process where now, I'm with Pace and we're chopping it up in a room. And then I'm backstage with him, or I'm speaking at different events, and then it's like, oh, okay, I'm that guy. Like, we're all going through that evolution. The fun part is to find out how far you can go with it. It's a good question though. But that's why when I say some of these numbers, I don't think they register for a lot of people. You know why most people don't make $1 million? They've never done the math. Does anybody know how much $1 million is a month? $83,333 a month. I've done the math. You see what I'm saying? We talk about it. We post our Gucci bags. You know who buys that, by the way? People who don't have resources.
Broke people.
Because you know what they're trying to buy? Status.
Yes.
He's one of the richest guys on the planet selling status to people. That's wild. Yeah? I'd rather have time freedom and location freedom and go anywhere on the planet. Yes? Okay, just saying. Any other questions, comments, concerns, observations, hallucinations about what I shared with you?
My head hurts. It's a lot of
Good.
I appreciate it. I know your time is valuable, so I appreciate
Oh, it's my pleasure because, I want you guys to understand, what am I actually doing right now?
You're growing
adding
yourself.
value, giving us value.
I'm what?
You're growing yourself.
I'm training leaders. Because this is the fourth component if you want to explode. So many of us, because we're high productive individuals, and 65% of us come from parents that live paycheck to paycheck, so we hear things like you have to work real, and we buy into like this hustle culture thing, and right? And I turn myself into the type of person that could do 150 deals a year. I did it 10 years in a row. Yeah, that's like winning the Super Bowl 10 years in a row. It's hard, right? But what I've realized recently is it's actually easier for me to grow through other people than it is myself, my own efforts. So to give you an example, we brought 22 agents on last month. I personally brought 2 of them. Can you imagine taking 2 listings and 20 more show up? It's fantastic, right? Makes you giggle. I literally remember I was on the soccer field with, like, watching my son. I was talking to Jose. I was like, bro, I just had this mind-blowing awareness, and it's going to sound silly, but it's never dawned on me before. He was like, what? I'm like, it's easier to grow through other people than it is your own efforts. So ask yourself a question. See, I don't want all you guys to be watching what I'm doing here and just be a participant. That's what I said to AAA. You need to be thinking, who in your org have you sat down, bless you, and had this conversation with? Because if you're not doing that, guess what's going to happen to your growth? Because it'll be all based on your own efforts. Yeah? Does that make sense? So what I'm really doing here is training. I'm equipping leaders to lead. Because if I help you get to 100, and you get to 100, and you get to 100, and that one get to 100, and that one get to 100, guess what we equal? Like 1,000. Does that make sense? But most of this is you have to see it in your mind. That's right. Brutus wants a piece. Let's go. What other questions do you have for me? Yeah? So again, that fourth component is leadership. So notice, while I'm here, could I just gone to that mastermind and like not hung out with you guys? Yeah. My intention is to model behavior. A lot of those people that have like built to thousands, they're there like talking to each other, having a good time. I'm sure some of them have agents that are here local, yeah? So I'm here modeling what you should be doing. Yes? And then before I leave, what am I doing on Tuesday? Why? To help you too? Okay. Yes. And that's what you should be doing to help all your people. Help them get agents. Help them grow. Yeah. And then you.
Me personally, I'm about quality over quantity. I don't want to just add 5 people and they're all just going to be doing nothing. Like,
Yeah.
I'm just curious. How do you feel about that?
Yeah.
Honestly.
Yeah. I think it's like if you attract 100 people, 90 of them won't do anything.
So how does that help you?
It's fine.
As an organization?
The per person productivity of those 407 agents is 4 deals all year long. That's what it is for the industry. It's fine. 9 of those people, though, will be soldiers. Jess, Ben, Vivian, AAA, right? Soldiers. And we're glad that they are because the battle rises and falls on them. One of them will be a warrior. One of them could build a 500 by themselves or 1,000 by themselves. So you attract the many to find the few, and then I work with the willing. Yeah, my girl said that. I was like, yo, what's up with this? She's like, I work with the willing. I was like, touche. I work with the willing. People that come to the well, then I give them more time. Yeah? I probably talk to Jess. I talk to Jess all the time. Why? She's willing. And she's growing. Just like Lars talks to me whenever I want. So I wouldn't be like,
I'm an overthinker, by the way. And I think
yeah, it's okay. But I wouldn't be like, meh, because you know what that's like? That's like, I remember I went down that path in production. People would be like, oh, I only want to do high end. And I was like, okay, well, I'd rather hang out by the equator. Because I sell 150 homes a year at $300,000-$400,000 a pop, and I make a ton of money. And I can do that. That stuff always sells. It always moves. And downturns, upturns, it flies off the shelf. So what's like the average price point here? Like a low, like if you list something here in Dallas for like 400,000 or 500,000, does it fly off the shelf immediately? Like what's the price where that happens? 350. 350, 400, like bang, it's gone, right? Like as you're walking out, you're like, you might as well print this thing, baby. It's money in the bank, yes? That's where I want to hang out. Because I can sell a lot of those really fast. Does that make sense? So yeah, I'm less concerned about that, but more like we attract the many to find the few. And it's working out in our numbers. So we have 10 agents. We have 4 agents that have more than 40 and probably 10 that have more than 20. But that's out of 407. Does that make sense? So I wouldn't be overly concerned about it. And you never know who that, like, you kind of have a sneaky suspicion because I've had people, I'm like, bro, they're going to smash it, and they don't do anything. And then I've had other people that are like, they're all right, and then like, boom, they take off. Yeah, just get people to the well. And get your first rev share check, because I promise you once you do, it's going to be like, oh, this is real? What's the most amount you've made in rev share, Vivian?
24, 27.
What's the biggest check you've made in rev share, Jess?
6,800.
What's the biggest check you made in rev share?
48.
4,800? Yeah, mine's 22,000. Just saying.
And all you do is talk on social media.
Sit, bro, and do this.
Have you put this on social media?
What?
What you're talking about right now?
It's right there.
That's gonna go out there.
Yeah, and we got 2 cameras here. I'm mic'd up. She's mic'd up. Yeah. Everywhere I go, it's mic'd up. Unless they tell me not to. That's right. He knows what's up. Yeah, so now because remember, there's the 2 highest forms of leverage are media and code, and that's all I'm doing all the time. So I told my team that whole summit that we do, not only does it serve all those purposes, if it was just the media, it's worth it. Because you think when we're on Pace Morby's channel with me and him doing the lunch, that's not going to explode and cause more people to want to come to the well? 100%. So yeah, all the time. Whenever you do events, have it. When you're documenting what your flip, I would be telling people. I'd be standing, not at this, but like a cool vibe board. Hey, here's how this works. Here's the money. Here's how you do it.
Bro, I posted the 70% rule. It went viral. I'm not even in that game. You're doing it.
I know I keep, or like, Rachel gets some content and like vlogs it, but I need to be doing it on my own channel.
Yeah. Bro, like document what you're doing, because by the way, too, if you want to raise money from people and they're watching you do what you do, because here's what I'm going to do, is I'm writing a book right now, specifically on helping agents do, thank you, because that's what they want to know.
Speaking of the 70% rule, for everyone in here, you have to subtract the hair costs for a good deal.
But by me writing a book, by the way, does that help AAA? Why? Because I can send him 10 and he hands them to agents. Yeah? Easy. And then once they read it, then they go online and you get them on a call with me, bang, yeah? So I'm writing a book on that. But the next book will be on investing with the goal of creating a company that lends money. So let me ask you a question. If I build a whole community of people who know, like, and trust me, what's the probability they want to invest with me? Easy peasy, 1, 2, 3 easy. So it's just using these different forms of leverage, because that's what I've noticed. I've noticed there's something like a book or piece of media that leads to like a course or high ticket, which leads to reoccurring revenue. That's how it works. So look, Grant writes books, leads to his high ticket coaching, which leads to investing with him in Cardone Capital. Make sense? Pace has his thing online, leads to his community where he charges money, leads with you investing in sub 2 with him or lending money with him. It's just like the formula. So you could, hey, here's this thing that we do, right? Here's the media that leads to this business where we can build something for you or construction stuff, which leads to you investing with me. But the media helps make that happen way faster. Without it, it's much harder. I told him, like, Grant Cardone raises $50 million a month. No banks, no middlemen, because of media. Yeah, Zoom. You're like, yeah, bro, I got like 200,000 in capital. He raises $50 million a month. Just hops on a call. He's like, yeah, this is what we're doing. And people wire him like $7 million. It's crazy. Any other questions? I know, it's a lot. You feel the energy in the room? It's like, bro. All right, so here's what's true. Your family deserves your best. Your physical body deserves your best. God deserves your best. In order to really give that stuff my best, I need to have housing, transportation, food, and insurance covered. Because that's where most of our money goes. And that's what we spend all of our time working, and it takes away from that other stuff. I'm telling you, this opportunity has done that for me. It can do the same for you. I know Jessica's here to help you. I'm here to help you. Jose, everybody's here to help you to get to 100. And you have the roadmap, right? So like there's a saying that says, those who don't read are no different than those who can't. To know and not do is the same as not knowing. Now you know, and it's recorded, so if you ever come back to me and you're like, you didn't tell us, I'll be like, yes, I did. Okay? So I appreciate you guys coming out on a Sunday. Thank you kindly. And yeah, let's hang out, I guess, and continue to enjoy our time together. Hooray!